Hunters in Minnesota love their deer. There's just something about sitting in the woods, chasing those big racks, or trying to put meat in the freezer. Sometimes we take trips though and go to other legendary whitetail destinations around the world. Last fall I had the chance to go up to Saskatchewan and target some of those big-bodied dark rack bucks. After a few quiet days of sitting amongst those tall trees, the buck I was after presented himself, and just like that, my hunt was over. I put a message out on social media asking for some recommendations on taxidermists, and one name kept coming up over and over.
I was raised by my grandfather here in this house since I was 10 years old, and he taught me everything I know about hunting, about ethics and safety and the enjoyment of it. And then in spring of 2011, when we lost him to cancer, cut to that fall, deer hunting, I just really was not in the mood for it. I missed my grandpa. I missed telling him the stories about the hunts. Sitting in the stand that morning, this deer walks by, and it's just a nice quality deer. Nothing usually people would hang on the wall, but it's a great deer. And I took a good shot, and it dropped. When I climbed down then to check it out, I did what my grandpa taught me every year. You put your hands on the deer, and you thank the deer for its sacrifice, for what it's going to provide for you. And as I did that, I kid you not, I felt my grandpa there with me. He gave me a hug, and I felt so much better about the whole situation. It got me back in the mood to hunt again. So I wanted to hang it on the wall somehow, and I just imagined it'd be a European mount. But everybody said, you got to go up to this guy up by Big Bend, Carl Ahrndt. He's a great guy. He loves hearing stories, and he'll do a great job for you. So I brought it up to Carl, told him that same story, and he said, no, I'm not going to European mount that for you. That needs to hang on your wall. That's a story you need to tell your kids, your grandkids. Keep hunting, you know, enjoyable like that. And so he did, and it's my proudest deer.
You didn't hesitate recommending him when I asked.
Not at all, no. He's the only one I'll bring any of my stuff to.
How old are you, Carl?
Oh, just about 84. It's something I really enjoy. I enjoy hunting deer. You know how it is when you hunt those things, you know, they can be pretty crafty, you know. And well, I started out, my first deer I ever shot, I was, like I say, I was 23 years old when I shot my first deer, and I got him with a whole recurve bow with bought homemade wooden arrows from a guy, and after that, I've been a dedicated deer hunter. There's no two deer alike, you know. You can, they're not all record book bucks, you know, but there's no two alike, you know. You look at the horns and 8s, 10s, 12s, you know, they're abnormal points. Or you look at them, you know, some different angles that they come out of the head and different lengths of brow tines, and it's just, I don't know. As far as the taxidermy thing, I really got interested when I was 10th grade in high school. That biology teacher had a science club, part of the extracurricular there, and there was a good a guy that was very good bird taxidermist there, and I really got interested in that.
So how many years have you been doing this then?
Been doing it since 1956. How many of that ever?
1956?
Yes.
Wow.
67 years or something like that.
Holy smokes.
So.
He's done 5 shoulder mounts for me for whitetails, and I have 1 antelope that I shot out in eastern Montana that he did, and I want to say a dozen European mounts. This year, my daughter shot a nice 10-pointer, and it had a broken brow tine on it. But it was just a European mount, but I brought it up to him middle of November. I said, Carl, is there any way you can get this done so I can give it to my daughter for Christmas? both European mounting it and fixing that brow tine. So I got you. He took care of it, and 3 weeks later it was done. I picked it up. But that's not real.
Oh, wow.
And he's just an artist.
Well, that's what a lot of customers say. They like my mounts. I've had that compliment many times. People appreciate the detail that goes into it. There's more than just pulling the hide over a form. Once it's brought here, then I have to cape it out, take the skin off the skull then, and then we have to do the fleshing process, and that's almost half of my time involved in a mount, is fleshing and thinning the hide, getting the hide thinned down. When I get them fleshed out, then I usually salt them down, and then I let them dry out. And then when I get ready to tan them, I put them in a solution where they're regenerated again. And there's things we have to do to get the form ready. You know, we got to cut the mouth slot in and drill out the nostrils, and then it's set the eyes. Well, the ears are turned inside out, and the cartilage is totally taken out of them too. So, being we use plastic ear liners, then they get inserted in there. So, I mix up some epoxy, and I put a little bit red tempera paint in there to get it a pink color, and it eliminates. I don't have to paint the ear when it's done.
Basically, it's going to look like this once you get it on, essentially.
Yep, that's the same form.
What's the purpose of this then?
It makes a little, not such a sharp bend right in the neck there. It's no special reason, I guess, but
Makes it look a little more natural.
Then it gets a coating of hide paste. I'm making myself a mount.
Oh, are you?
On one of these. I don't have that many mounts of my own. I got to do something. Hold the hide on the form and set the antlers and go from there.
When somebody brings in a deer head, what's your goal with that?
Do it just as good or better than the last one I did. It's whether I'm doing it for somebody else or for myself. Just I try to do the best I can, I guess. Once it's totally dried down then where the pins, we'll be taking pins out as it's drying then, and we do a small amount of epoxy around the eyes. We try to get the little deal right in the corner of the front of the eye. The nose pad on the deer is fleshed very, very thin. When it dries onto the form, you lose it dries smooth. There's no texture there. If you look at the deer, you see the little bumps. We'll replace those bumps. And then I usually go with a little row of bumps all around the bottom of the eye here too. I haven't really kept real accurate, close deal, but got pretty close to 30 hours into a deer head. You tuck them lips in there, it should come hair to hair. You look at some mounts, they don't tuck it in enough. That takes care of that part for now.
It's funny how you got to get a hold of him. You only can call him at lunchtime or after supper, because he's in that shop.
No cell phones and no internet.
Nope, it's all old school for him. It's amazing how he keeps all that stuff together, and his notebook's awesome. You just jot your stuff down on his little spiral notebook, and you wonder how it's going to get done and how he's going to remember your deer, but it's your deer every year, and it looks fantastic.
Well, just got word from Carl that the buck is finished, which is great. That was a really quick turnaround. It's just in time for the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic. So let's go over to Carl's and pick it up.
He's awesome. He is. He loves hearing the stories. That's the first thing he asks me when I bring in a deer. Which stand was this one in? Was your daughter with you this time, or did your wife finally beat you? You know, he's great at remembering stuff from previous years, you know, from previous stories. And yeah, he's funny. And we always have to budget some time to go get the deer, you know. When I went to go get my deer this year, my wife is like, well, are you gonna be home for supper then? Like, yeah, I should be back. But he's always fun to talk to, that's for sure.
So cool.
I guess to get to the point where I'm at as far as the quality of the mount, that's what I enjoyed.
When you first put that post out there that you're looking for somebody and I recommended him, somebody said, I heard Carl's retiring, and my heart sank. I'm like, no, you can't lose a guy like that.
I don't know who started that, but
You're not quitting anytime soon.
I ain't. As long as I can still thread the needle, I think I got no intention to quit in it. Probably till the good Lord takes me, I guess. I'm just fascinated with deer.
Using taxidermy to preserve these animals is more than just putting something on the wall. It's preserving a memory, and we all have different ones from over the years.
You know, the memories that we have as far as growing up on the farm and hunting and fishing and the things that we've done, it's memories, really good memories.